Hi there, I'm Stephanie Swann, founder of Singer Style Studio and Singer Style Studio Recordings. I have locations here in Scottsdale and Gilbert, Arizona, Biltmore. Let's see, so I'm the lead studio instructor. I'm a certified instructor of voice. I teach for Seth Riggs in LA, speech level singing. You know, he's the teacher of many of the who's who in the music industry. Beyonce, it was Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. I always had my lessons after Ray Charles. On and on and on and on, the who's who. People are pretty familiar with Seth Riggs. So I'm just one of his certified teachers, and doing this technique. I've got my studio here, and I met Dennis not too long ago, and he told me about the foam, and boy, has it been interesting what I found in the results. For, you know, I've got probably 2 handfuls of students who are working with producers and labels and working on their finished albums. And all very skilled, different people. As they bring in their finished results to me, I hear different things, and I'm very analytical and picky with what I hear. You know, because my clients and my students make their jobs very easy in what they're doing. But there's something lacking in the quality and the recording, you know, and I can hear it in some of them. And I don't know if it's the mic, is it the location, is it, I mean, what could it be? What factor is it? But it's something that we hear, you know. And after trying out this foam, I just about, you know, couldn't believe, could this actually be it? I think this could be the very thing I've been talking about, you know, that's been lacking in these recordings. And I feel like this could really very possibly be it.
You think that the foam took away some of the room sound?
Oh, certainly some of the room sound. You know, one of the biggest things that I found with the foam, you know, was it was as if I had new ears, or as if, you know, it felt as if, and I said this out loud, the first day I was teaching with the foam, I said out loud to myself, and I remember, I said, it's like a feeding sound into my ears. It's just like coming in through my ears, you know, so easy and effortless, you know, and I pride myself in my hearing because, you know, many times I work in the studio with producers, you know, and for some of these big labels, they'll send their artists to me and say, you let us know when they're ready. They're going to open for so-and-so, whatever. They put all their faith in my hands, you know, and they'll say, you let us know when they're ready. And I'm very good at my job, at what I do. But when I'm there, even in the studio, if they're recording and trying to help them through things, because I can quickly, you know, with that relationship, the artist knows how to fix it, saves them time and money. Well, many times we'll hear things and I'll say, you know, in one track I'll say, stop there, we got to do this. Producers will say, I don't really hear that. They do it anyway. You know, and then afterwards they'll go, you're right. And they just stop asking questions. They trust my ears. My ears are microscopic before the phone. And that's why I'm saying now that there is the phone, you've made my job so easy, you know, because I hear things people can't hear. And it only takes one time, you know, and I don't need to listen back through. I don't need to check things. Boom, 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 boom. And I've got that almost an auditory photographic memory, you know, which helps me in what I do, you know. But it's been really cool to have this. I noticed one of the big differences when I hear recordings and I want to be picky and analytical, when there's something that's just not quite right, there's just the presence of the vocal is missing, you know. And I'm not talking about the bands and this, you know, balance being too off and too loud that drowns out the vocalist. Yeah, that happens all the time, you know. And I get the pre-mixing, final mastering. I get that too. But still, there should be a finesse that I've only found from few producers who are really gifted at what they do. And it's like, wow, I'm just a fan of everything they do, you know. But I'm talking, what about all these producers that are working with major films right now? They're working with clients of mine. That if I'm being picky with their work, I'm thinking, you know, I got the serious question. What is it? Is it your mic? Is it your room? Now I'm asking, is it the foam or lack of, you know? Because I'm hearing these finished results, and even though it's a mix, I'm thinking, that boy, there is just, that presence is gone. It's not in the forefront. There's something missing. Now, in my own analyzing this foam, you know, I recorded with my iPhone. You know, let me hear you sing this song just on my iPhone. You know, then I went in the other room. Identical, you know, situations, identical setup. no foam.
One with foam and one without.
Yes, just for my own, the geek inside me, my inner sound geek that wanted to just know what's different. And sure enough, I mean, it was very interesting. It was very, very cool. You know, I've purchased foam before, obviously for soundproofing. I've never studied it the same way, you know, and I don't know that I've ever really noticed results, even though I've had soundproofing foam. Does it work? You just kind of hope it does and trust it, you know. But like, I really feel like there is definitely something to this. You know, I don't know the theory behind it, but there's definitely something to this that, hands down, nobody's going to ask a question. Nobody's going to have, I mean, if you try it out, you're going to know it works.
How did your students react to it?
Oh, they definitely. I mean, it was nice because, again, they could hear themselves. You know, when you normally can't hear yourselves, you know, we mic you to hear yourself. You're inside your head, you know. But they, I mean, you know, it's just really, really different. I mean, I think they're still finding as well, you know how I just keep saying it's so interesting? That's like my only word to describe it. It's just so interesting. They kind of feel the same thing. It's definitely like this response where they're hearing themselves back, which can be a very good thing. You know, as we know, everybody needs to. We need that harsh reality, you know, because it's not what we think about ourselves. It's reality versus what we think, you know. It's a crack up, to tell you the truth.
Have you noticed any difference in pitch or tone?
I have. You know, now my question in wanting to be careful is, I've had some people, 6th season going on right now, like myself, and some people being gone for 3 weeks and then coming back. I had to really be analytical and say, now, is it the foam or is this because you've been out, you know? And so I want to weigh everything out, but definitely, you know, it becomes more obvious. If they're pulling chest, if they're screaming above, if they're, you know, it becomes obvious to them what perhaps was not obvious before. You know, because again, they can, you know.
So you can hear them struggling where they shouldn't be.
Well, I always hear them struggling with or without it.
Oh.
But I feel like they have more.
They hear more.
Awareness. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
Rather than just trusting me, which they can do because I shoot it straight.
Right.
But I feel like it's cluing them in more, which, you know what, makes my job easier. I don't have to work so hard to tell them every little thing. If they can be a little bit more mindful through hearing, you know.
Well, if they can hear what you're explaining to them, that's got to be helpful for both of you.
And hear themselves more. It's like, you know, it's just point dried. But I mean, the conversations that I'm having now, and that you know, since I've had this up, I should be your spokesperson because, and I kind of have through quite a few people I've been talking with, you know, I don't know if this could be the answer to what they're needing, but it's sure worth a try because they need something, you know?
Yeah.
And these are, you know, these aren't just, I mean, sure, some people are probably just people recording from their homes and their whatever. But with how some of these people are networked, I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me that this is what I'm hearing. Yeah. This has got to be better. You know, I am impressed with a few, but, you know, I am very picky. You know, so I think if this is an answer to help people, they need this in there. You know, maybe it's not the mic. You know, maybe it's the room acoustics. So, yeah. I mean, that's my take. So I've been sharing it with everyone. I have with all my students. I've been saying, you know what, talk to your recording guy. I'll give him this card. You know, he can talk with Dennis. He can just try it out, see what it is. Because you know what, they're going to know. If suddenly they're hearing a difference, you know, it's going to be worth it. Yep. They're going to get better results, you know, less work. So.
Well, foam is all about sound absorption, and the way we absorb sound with our foam is different than all other foams.
Right.
And that difference is what I want you to hear, and I think you've heard it.
I think I've heard it. I mean, I went online and I watched your demonstration video of you explaining it. Now, I don't get into all the theory myself of understanding that, you know, that's cool stuff. I might not have that ability to spit out the knowledge like you do, so I couldn't, like, restate why it works the way it works, but I get that there's something to it. There's something to it.
Great.
You know, and it's working really, really well. I hope, you know, I remember in starting out my recording studio, which, you know, I no longer have. Okay. But when we were going through our research and searching for foam and searching for the soundproofing, I mean, what a chore. Because what direction do you have? You know, you just start your research. You hope you find the right thing. You know, you're paying a pretty penny, you know, but who really knows? Who can really say, right? It's kind of a risk you always, you know what I mean?
Right.
Trust the professionals, but that's why I said, where were you 7 years ago? 8 years ago when we were doing this?
Yeah.
I wish I'd known, you know, but anyhow.
Well, we're excited that you've tried it because it was designed for voice.
Right.
That was my sole purpose of designing it. It took me 8 years to figure the curve out that works best for voice.
Yeah.
And then we're now using it extensively for music because it seems that if it works for voice, it works for music. I would have never thought that.
Right.
I would have never considered that, but it really does. It's just as smooth and pure for music as it is for voice.
Well, yeah. You know, the thing that I found really interesting with it is it seems like with the voice, it brings the center, almost like it brings the center channel through. I can't explain that. I don't even know if that makes sense or if I'm even saying it right. But the best way I could describe it is it brought that voice forward and out.
More defined, would you say?
You know what I mean? Like,
more
yeah,
definition?
it just kind of like brought it to the forefront. And that's the very thing that's my big complaint and pet peeve. When I listen to recordings, I think it's either crappy software or crappy, you know, I'm judging the studio in my mind based on what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? And even if they're like, oh, it's pre-mixing, I'm thinking, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, look, I know enough to know what it's going to, you know what I mean?
You got to get it right at the beginning.
Yeah, I can't
you can't
accept
fix
mediocrity.
it electronically.
Right. It's no mediocrity. It's got to be, and again, a few gifted people, only a few gifted people that I've met in my whole life and career, you know, where I've heard their work and it's like, they get it. They're just gifted. But there's so many more that aren't.
Yeah.
And that's been the concern of my life is what's missing. You know, I don't want to constantly be harping on the work from people. It would be nice if, especially when they're working with people that I've molded for the last 8 years, they could get a sound that's reflective of what this student can do, because they can throw artists down. I mean, I've got clients that are crazy with their gift. And then when I'm hearing these, you know, results that aren't even reflective or showing what they're capable of, I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. It's a waste, you know?
Yes.
It's a waste.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So what's the, you know? So that's my big thing. So hard to describe, but that's what I find. It seems to bring that center out to where it can be heard. That's why I really want some of these producers working with some of my clients to maybe just slap it up and test it out in the vocal booth one day they're recording the student and see if it's not day and night.
Yeah.
Just see if it's not day and night different, you know? And I said, give me your info.
Good.
They can see what they think. If it makes a difference, I'd love it. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, it would help everyone, right?
Absolutely.